All right. On a day that was filled with a massive glitch that knocked us off the air, I'll tell you, there's very few problems that can't be solved with a brand new $4,000 MacBook Pro. So that is kind of the direction we're going in. As you can see, the ticker says Larry's not here. I have breaking news. Larry is now here. Let's see if we can officially do this for the first time ever. I'm going to push a button that brings the greatest duo in the history of sports talk radio in the city of San Francisco together. Oh, Larry, we know just enough to be dangerous. How are you, pal?
How's the audio? I've got my mic going. I've got my mic upgraded today.
Very nice. No, so you're not coming through my headphones. I can't hear you in my headphones, but I can hear you. I think if I just take these off, I can just hear you through the computer. How you doing?
Well, but there may be. I'm hearing a slight echo.
You got a slight echo? What if I pulled away over here? Is that better?
I think it's just me that's echoing because I think I'm going through your speakers and then I'm hearing you back.
Hold on. What if I mute this and then I put you in here?
We're not on StreamYard.
No, now I can't hear you at all.
No, you can't hear me at all?
No, I got to leave you on mute here. Are you ready for me to go grab my wife? Are you ready to entertain while I run and get my IT department?
Absolutely. I can entertain the Damon Bruce audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Larry Krueger.
Take it away.
Take it away, Larry. Here, she's monitoring. This is the love of a woman. How come, Larry, I get
Put your headphones on.
There we go. She's had it with me, Larry. She's seriously had it.
No,
yeah, it's amazing.
Now I can hear Krueger.
There we go. There we go.
Look at how beautiful blue her eyes are. Come on.
Yeah,
I thought, when I saw Jack and I saw Ozzy, I thought, you know what? Those cannot be Damon's kids. They're way too good looking. Absolutely. And now I know why they're so good looking.
Now you know where it comes from, man.
Yep.
So Larry is here. We can stop the banner ad because everyone knows what the deal is. And first of all, man, you had me for a welcome party at your place yesterday. It is great to have you here. You are officially now and forever the first guest that I've ever had on the Plus. And we couldn't start with a better guy. I mean it. I want to thank you again in front of my audience for all the friendship and mentorship and the help that you have given me to hit the ground running as much as possible 3 weeks after a seismic happening in my career. So I thank you with all my heart, pal, and I wanted to do it in front of my audience too, not just in front of your audience. You are the man. You're a good guy. Well,
thank you, man. Appreciate you. And, some people, they get kicked down, they get knocked down, and you're like, you know what? It's just the way life is. But your situation, was you didn't get knocked down. It was just, it really had nothing to do with what you did or what Ray did or what anybody did. The bottom line is this is just an ever-changing media landscape, man. And it's changed, the world's moving fast.
Right.
But the media world is moving faster. And the changes in technology and where people are getting their, hey, it wasn't that long ago that I was walking to the curb and picking up a newspaper and carrying it back in and, reading it. And now I would never do that. I would never do that. And so our behaviors change and we adjust. And yet the people who truly are content creators, guys like hopefully me and you and others like us, will prevail in new formats and new endeavors and in new ways for people to follow us. So onward and upward, and let's do this, man. Let's do this. And one of the things, you and I have been talking sports together for 30 years. Seriously, almost 30 years. So so this live stream won't last quite that long, but you know what I'm saying? It's like we can talk a lot of sports, and
if there's anyone who could crank out a 30-year long live stream, it would be you, Larry. It would be you. So it's funny, as I pivot to everything, and Jillian, obviously, because she grew up in the city, she listened to you on KNBR, just being, a San Franciscan. She knew exactly who you are, but I don't think she understood that when you press, let's go live, like you insist on staying there for approximately 4 to 4.5 hours. How many hours have you been cranking out today? I know that I saw you talk to, now either it was repurposed video, but you and Grant were talking. You had a really interesting conversation about, who was it? JT O'Sullivan, who was kind of putting Kyle Shanahan on Front Street.
Yeah, JT O'Sullivan did kind of a "I'm joking, I'm not joking" thing on April Fool's Day, where he did a side by side where he was JT O'Sullivan and he was Kyle Shanahan. He had Kyle's red hat, and it was funny. It was really creative, but then it was weird because he was kind of being critical and kind of being silly, but then he also mixed in like real high level Greg Cosell kind of film breakdown, like you were sitting in a quarterback room and they're going over it, and he's assessing the route tree and he's going through the route combinations and what he sees and what he doesn't see and what it indicates and what it doesn't indicate. And it was weird because, like, I always say to Scott Osler when I see him at Ninerland, I'm like, Scott, are you joking or are you serious? Because so much of his writing is like he's joking, but within there, an article that includes jokes, is oftentimes serious points. And
right, for a lot of tongue in cheek, there's some content there.
Yeah, I mean he'll joke, but then there's a lot of real content, and that's what I got out of the JT O'Sullivan thing. He joked, and it was kind of fun and kind of funny.
Where do I go to see this?
You could go on YouTube and just type in JT O'Sullivan, or you could probably just Google JT O'Sullivan, and that video got enough traction that it'll pop right up. But it's really good.
Where did he produce it from? Did he do it on?
He's got his show.
Oh, he's got his own show.
He's got his own deal. And I couldn't quote it right now exactly where I find it because I don't follow him regularly. But I loved it. I mean, he showed you route combinations and he's showing you different things here and how Kyle leaves the quarterback kind of naked in certain situations, and this is all his perspective. But of course, you remember JT O'Sullivan's era with the Niners, right? Mike Martz was the O coordinator. He had no pass protection at all. I think JT O'Sullivan might have been sacked more in like a limited number of games than some great Niner quarterbacks were sacked in a full season. So he was not protected.
What I remember most about JT O'Sullivan is he had a good game on a Sunday, and then that Monday, Ralph got all excited. And he was singing, "Little JTO, are you coming down the street with your JTO?" And he got really excited for one day, and then the excitement went away quickly. Went away very, very quickly.
I'm going to tell you about JT O'Sullivan. He went to Davis. He's a smart kid. He's a very smart kid. I kind of think of myself as smart. I got a master's. And
Wharton.
I was at the Wharton School for Business, and I don't like to talk about it much. Tom sometimes will bring it up, but I don't know.
Ralph's neurotic side was just so entertaining.
By the way, let's just get to some comments right here. Yeah. We start with the Swiller, who says, "Well, Damon looks baked, my man." No, what happened was today, I'm dead serious. We just went out and got a big MacBook Pro and a much better camera. So this is my
What camera are you going with?
We're gonna have to ask the wife on that one. I have no specifics whatsoever to share with you other than it's a new camera. It's got high def capabilities, so my flaws are coming through and just incredible content delivery.
It's so funny you say that, Damon, because like when I got a new camera and I'm not looking. You're not seeing me through that camera right now because I'm going through the computer because I think what are we on right now? We're not on StreamYard. We're on Restream.
No, so this is called Restream. This is Jillian chose the tech, and whatever she says, that's what yes, honey. I originally said let's check out StreamYard because that's what you showed me, and it looked fantastic. Honestly, this thing looks just like what you showed me. Basically, has the almost near same capabilities.
Right.
So
that's fine. I'll have to figure. Tomorrow I'll make sure that I dial up my main camera from so I'm on my main camera instead of my brand new laptop camera. But yeah, I mean it's amazing. It's like my kid's like, "Dad, that camera's awesome," and I look at myself. I'm like, "Dude, You got to be kidding me. Yeah, it's clearer than ever, but now you can see my ugly mug clearer than ever.
By the
it's
way, Ernesto totally nails it. Unfiltered with language and looks. Yes.
Right, exactly.
So
it's a real deal.
Today, I because of this ring light in here, which you have to have. You have to be well lit or you look like you're standing in a closet.
Right.
I have like a serious Peyton Manning forehead going on here with just this huge white glowing dot on my forehead. And
it looks fine. It actually really doesn't. You don't look. I mean, it does not look bad.
So she comes down with a little powder and like tries to, make up. And I'm just like, there's no world that I'll ever live in where I'm comfortable doing that. Just can't happen. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's great to have you. I see a lot of people who are coming in here who are, routine listeners of mine, routine listeners of yours. Larry, if there's one thing that I'm learning early here is that we are not going forward without any sponsors. I know that I'm going to be arranging some sponsors soon on my page. Let's tell everyone who is, I don't even know how this could be happening, but anyone who is seeing you for the very first time, let's tell them about Pig in a Pickle and let's tell them about New York Sausage, baby. Let's sell the product. Let's go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have three primary sponsors on my show, and they are no particular order. Pig in a Pickle, which, of course, you remember me on KMBR doing Pig in a Pickle commercials. The great Damon and Mary own Pig in a Pickle. They've got two locations. They're in Emeryville, open Wednesday through Sunday, and they're inside the Emeryville Public Marketplace there. Great location if you're out in Emeryville. And then if you're out in the North Bay in Marin, they're in Corte Madera, and they're right there in the mall. They got a really sweet location, and they do barbecue. And it's open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., and it's awesome. It's great barbecue. They do brisket chili, Damon. Brisket is great. Brisket chili is like, what? This is unfreaking believable.
So brisket is the highest art form of all barbecuing. There is no harder meat to nail, and then when you do nail it, there is no greater payoff in the world of barbecue than good brisket.
Right, and if you don't know what you're doing, you will be tortured by basically like, like it's almost as like it'll be like chewing your belt. You know what I mean? It's so tough if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
But these guys do it right. They've smoked the brisket for 14 to 18 hours. They also have potato chips that they only sell in Marin County, Damon, that they cook in beef fat. And they put the rub that they put on the barbecue chicken on these potato chips. And then they make them once a day. They bag them up, and, man, they are gone. I mean, like, you get there in the afternoon, you're not getting a bag. It's the best potato chip I've ever had in my entire life. You got to try it, only in Marin County. But then also we are brought to you by Telmetrics, which Telmetrics is like if you hurt your shoulder playing tennis this weekend, but it's not serious enough to go to ER or urgent care or anything like that, and you're just like, hey, I want somebody to give me some advice on how to rehabilitate my shoulder without going down to ER and incurring some huge cost. Go to telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. It is it's like if you're an occupational therapist or a surgeon or a chiropractor or a physical therapist, or if you're just a person playing sports on the weekend, it's designed for you to use, and it can greatly benefit you. It uses computer vision and artificial intelligence, and they provide an outpatient therapy rehab therapy service for you by just going to telmetrics.co. And a lot of people have gone there. Hey, I hurt my ankle. I don't know what's wrong, and they get great ideas of how to rehabilitate themselves.
And if you've eaten too much sausage, you might need that too. Tell us about. So I really mean this. Because of you, I made a choice between a brand of sausage and the New York sausage for just breakfast sausage. I still haven't even had the Italian sausage yet, but it was fantastic. So one more plug, and then we're hopping right into it.
Yeah, special thanks to
Larry,
New York
tell
style.
me about your sausage and how impressive it is.
Seriously. And, funny, my chat is always filled with sausage talk. Some guy just professed his love for my sausage last half hour, and then became ridiculed by the chat for like the rest of the time. But New York style sausage. I don't know wherever you shop, whether it's Lenardi's or Costco, Safeway, Food for Less, you name it. I mean, I don't know where you shop, wherever you shop, they carry New York style Italian sausage. Their tagline is often imitated, never equaled, but it's awesome. They only have like 6 spices. The plant is on Tasman, Damon, right across from Levi Stadium.
Okay.
And it's a great product. And you can check out their website, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. They're a
Do
proud
they have
sponsor.
a problem with sun exposure over there as well? Or is
No.
that just Levi's?
No, yeah, no problem with sun exposure at all for New York Style, but it's an awesome product. It's so good that it's like one of those things where if you try it, it's kind of like pig in a pickle. If you try it, you don't. It's like I don't really need to do commercials for it. It's like you would prefer that. It's a million times better than Johnsonville or any of their other sausage competitors that are out there. And it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. The Italian mild is incredible in spaghetti sauce. The Italian spicy, if you're grilling them with some onions and peppers. But they do chorizo. They do breakfast sausage. They got about 19 different kinds. And they also have, in the umbrella of this family, 3 Bay Area restaurants that all serve their products as well. And I don't have the restaurants' names in front of me, but I can get them.
Next time.
And,
Next time
yeah.
we will get into it. Because, look.
Really good stuff. My mouth is watering even just thinking about it.
I am the Bay, say Larry selling the hell out of those sponsors. Look, that's what you do. That's how you get it done. This is a better service he and I will be providing for anyone who might want to come and sponsor the things that we're doing than, say, in other places. Let's just say. So look, Larry, it's great to have you here. Follow the Krueger Show, subscribe, click like on YouTube. And obviously, if you're here right now, we'd love you to subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus. Call it the Plus if you like, or don't. It's already a hot button topic. Some people say, that's great, I love it. And other people are like, drop the Plus, dude. It's stupid. I haven't made up my mind yet. Some people want to know.
Too much feedback is go with your gut, bro. Go with your gut. You know what I mean? Because there's always going to be naysayers.
Exactly.
No matter what.
Look, if wanting to please everyone was anything I ever wanted to do, there's no way I would be here right now. So anyways, Tom, I want to say thank you very, very much. Let's get Damon going on the algorithm. Let's get those viewers up. And yes, algorithms are good. We're learning things that I never thought I would have to care about, but here we are in a whole new space. And yeah, look, I hate to say it. Draymond's right. New media, baby. New media. I used to say, let me tell you, Draymond, that old media's got a fist to shake at you. No, he wins. Draymond wins. New media it is.
Maybe we get Draymond on the next week with us. That'd be great.
Hey, he's looking for a little exposure. We can maybe help him out. Larry, tonight, it's the biggest Warriors game of the entire year. They cannot lose to Oklahoma City at home. This is a must-win. Does it end their season? No. But if they want their season to have any sort of shot in the postseason, they can't drop 2 of their final 3 games of the year. They need to win 2 of their final 3 games of the year. And tonight it has to be one of those because I don't think they're winning 2 games on the road. They usually don't do that. So huge one tonight against Oklahoma City and I know you're enough of a basketball fan too, where I love this Thunder team. I mean, I love how young they are, how they play, the energy that they bring. I can't wait to see what they look like 2 years from now.
And their young guard is just grown up. I mean, he's incredible. And you know what's so refreshing about Gilgeous-Alexander? He didn't say, get me out of Oklahoma City. He just said, you know what? I'm gonna get minutes. I'm gonna develop, and I'm gonna make the place where I'm at a better place, simply because I'm there. And I've got great respect for him. I got great respect for the general manager of that franchise. To me, the best general manager in all of basketball is Sam Presti, the Oklahoma Thunder GM. And he's they haven't won titles. They
drafted 3 Hall of Famers in a row.
Right. And look what he's done to the roster. This year they were supposed to be like lotto bound. Right. People were talking about OKC is going to be adding Wembanyama at the end of the year. Instead, look at they are. They're 38-41. They're 3rd place in the Northwest Division. They're a fun watch. Lou Dort is one of my favorite players going back to ASU. Giddey is real. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is strong. You're talking about a strong.
That's a legit all-star, man. He is.
And they don't even have Chet Holmgren yet. I mean, Chet is going to be good. Another guy that I loved in Philly and I was hoping the Warriors would get him because I loved him when he played for Musselman at Arkansas, is Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe could flat out shoot the rock, and he's now on this team. So, and then Pokashevsky is, somebody fed him now, so he's putting on some weights.
And that's hopefully Holmgren is just spending this year eating. That's what they need.
But yeah, I mean, they've just got a lot of nice pieces, and I just love the moves they've made. I love all the assets they possess. I mean, what's their payroll? I mean, their payroll's got to be absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So it's Presti's an amazing builder. If I owned an NBA team, I would absolutely, the very first thing I would do is I would go and I would say, Sam Presti, how you doing? Larry Krueger, what do you make at OKC? I make X. Okay, how about 2X? Come on over. I'll double your salary. Come on over, because he knows anybody. You can't exist just on free agency in the NBA. You have to be able to draft your way. People talk about Durant. What got lost in that whole thing with Durant coming to the Warriors is the Warriors they didn't buy some weird title. They drafted Harrison Barnes. They drafted Steph. They drafted Draymond. They drafted Festus. They drafted the whole damn team.
Dude,
except for Durant.
The key, and I was,
that's how you do it.
When I joined Ethan Sherwood Strauss on the House of Strauss, we were kind of deconstructing how the Warriors came about in a time and a place that'll never exist again. I mean, the amount of data points that actually had to connect while the cap was going up because of a new media rights deal. Like there are a million things that had to happen for all of it. But mostly, and I truly mean this, and this is going to go down, I think it's going to be forgotten, but it shouldn't be, because it's as fascinating a portion of the entire dynasty that the Warriors are now trying to extend. All of this happens because Steph had a questionable ankle. Without a sprained, severely questionable ankle on Steph Curry, none of this happens, because he would have signed for a dollar amount that would have been prohibited to make 10 other different moves that they made down the road. And it's amazing that this dynasty literally is built upon the ashes of a sprained ankle that was a trick ankle and then turned into something that, knock on wood, has been, no real problem recently for Steph Curry. Since you're talking about how if you could start a team with Sam Presti, whatever. What if you were an NBA team owner? How hard would you be coming after Bob Myers if you really were to be had on the open market?
I think Bob Myers is awesome. I really do. Now, he's not perfect. He's not Jerry West. He's not, he's going to make some mistakes. But let's be honest. The Warriors have, what was it, 4 titles in 8 years? Is that what this last year was? The 4th in 8 years? Mm-hmm. They don't get this last title without that Wiggins pickup. And that Wiggins trade, wasn't that Wiggins and Kuminga? Did they wind up getting Wiggins and Kuminga?
The pick that became Kuminga, yeah. Yeah,
for D'Lo. So to me, the way that Bob Myers, instead of coming unglued when KD walked out the door, he quickly regrouped and said, we're going to make a move that we don't necessarily love right now, but we're going to preserve the salary spot by picking up D'Lo. And then we're going to hold D'Lo until we can flip him for something. And sure enough, flipping him for Wiggins and Kuminga, my God, I mean, to me, if you're going to make an argument that the Warriors this year have a chance to win the title, to me, a lot of the discussion of why starts with Wiggins and Kuminga. So that's how I see that.
What kind of Wiggins do you think actually shows up if he plays the final 2 games of the year? I mean, are you expecting him to just hit out the court again? Here's the thing. Did you see the excuse that the Warriors put out today that sort of said or tried to explain his absence, and it was about his father? Look, I'm not saying that I hope his father is really sick or anything, but I hope that there's truth to that, because the rumor that I had heard as to why Wiggins had been away. Larry, do you know the rumor that I'm talking about?
I saw a really graphic tweet from my man Cy Satsis, who will join me tonight on the Krueger Show after Warriors OKC with Frank Red. And Damon, we'd love to have you join us as well. You're more than welcome to join us post-game. But, and I won't repeat it because I don't I just don't
Well,
want to
how about
repeat
this?
it.
It's not information that anyone wants to be in front of because it's that awful. I mean, it really is that awful. It has to do with infidelity in a relationship and, are his children his children is the rumor that is easily, readily findable anywhere you get NBA talk or rumors these days. So, I mean, for us to say it and talk about it, it doesn't mean we're trying to break anything here. But, I mean, it is one of the stranger absences I've ever seen over the course of an NBA season. Normally, to say someone needs some personal time, they have to deal with a tragedy in their family, a situation in their family, and in a week or two, they're back. This was an over 20-game absence. We're talking a quarter of the season was missed due to personal reasons, which, I mean, it's just a lot to park under the guise of personal reasons. I mean, the Warriors as a franchise did Andrew Wiggins very, very well.
Here's my thought on that, Damon, not to interrupt you, but just my thought on that is like, can we, as fans of the team that want to see the team win a title, that we're invested. And if I were a season ticket holder, I'm not just emotionally invested, I'm actually monetarily invested. I'm actually invested. But even so, if Kerr and his teammates don't have a problem with him not being there, I don't know that any of us are allowed to have a problem with him not being there. They're the people that have to shoulder the load, his workload without him.
Right.
They're the ones who have to play better than they would normally play.
But at the same time,
for him.
But at the same time, though, if they hated the fact he wasn't coming back, they weren't going to be like, well, screw that guy, he's a terrible teammate. Like, they're going to say all the right things.
You would think players hang together typically, but I'm just saying, like, if the people that literally are working on his team are not calling him out, I don't think any of us really have the place to call him out. And if it was some deeply personal thing, I guess one side of me says, hey, man, you're not the first guy with girlfriend problems, or you're not the first guy with issues. But at the same time, then the other side of me goes, well, wait a second. If it's cool, if Kerr's cool with it, if Draymond's cool with it, if Steph's cool with it, how can I get super bent about, Andrew Wiggins, especially in a sport like the NBA, where I'm on record as saying that I think the NBA regular season means jack shit. I don't think it means anything. I don't think it really matters at all. And I don't think the Warriors, I don't think your seed is necessarily going to impact if you're going to win this title or not. To me, it's like, I'd rather be the 6 seed than the 5 seed. We could go into that.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean?
I've thought about it. The path between, Sacramento or what would it be? It
would be Sacramento, Memphis, Denver, right. or another. And if they were the 5 seed, it would be Phoenix, Denver, and then whatever comes in the finals, in the conference finals. To me, Phoenix, Denver is a far more difficult run than Sacramento, who's never been to the playoffs. They're probably going to be a little bit nervous, and the Warriors could steal game 1. And Memphis, the Warriors are a team that you don't want to poke the bear, and Memphis has poked the bear enough where they're getting Golden State's A game. And guess what, Damon? They can't handle Golden State's A game. So I think the Warriors are going to wind up in the conference finals if they're the 6 seed. As the 5 seed, I don't know. I don't know that they can beat the Suns, and I really don't know if they can beat Denver. So to me, their route is dramatically easier as the 6 seed.
Now, I know that this is something, as you have definitely, positioned your YouTube page, very much in the 49ers camp. And that's smart because the NFL is just bigger than anything. But Manuel Rodriguez says, no baseball talk, please. I'm surprised. No, hold on. But I'm surprised. I mean, I still like baseball. And I know you still like baseball.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, what baseball is trying to do to kind of improve itself, in my mind, is actually working. It's actually working. The pace of play, it's not a problem. Like, pace of play isn't a problem with baseball. The problem with baseball is a lack of action. One thing to the lack of action.
Yeah.
But boy, pace of play has a direct correlation to a lack of action. Or if you are in a lack of action inning, if you will, just the pace of play makes you get through it faster. I've heard people complain that now innings turn over so quickly they don't have time to walk away when the opposing team is pitching to go get their hot dog or their beer anymore. Like, I'm sorry, like the amount of candy ass you have to be to bring that to the table is why you now don't like baseball. You don't have enough time to go get a beer or a hot dog. And that, like, people are so used to just getting everything they want immediately when they want it. People need to calm down. People need to just stop complaining and go with the flow a little bit. And here's the deal. They're bringing hot dogs around. You can get a couple of beers when you go and bring them back to your seat. I mean, like, the amount of people demanding it needs to be perfect and catered to me all the time, it's unsolvable. It's an unsolvable problem. Trying to please a vast audience in 2023 is so much harder than it was in just 2013. People are fucking assholes. They are. And everyone who was an asshole became twice the asshole during the pandemic, and people forgot how to treat other people, and social picadillos they're totally forgotten. It's amazing.
It's an interesting topic because, about as far as baseball and how you feel about the rules changes. I'm for adapting to. I've got a 13-year-old. I'll tell you, doing the YouTube thing. I've used him as kind of my beta tester, you know what I mean? And someday you'll use Jack and Ozzy as your beta testers, because truly baseball is no longer engaged with the 13-year-old. The 13-year-old that used to be like passionate is now not as passionate.
Right.
Now my kids play baseball, right? My kids all play baseball. My son played varsity baseball at Northgate. My son now plays JV baseball at Northgate. My 13-year-old plays. He's going to play high school baseball. So they're baseball players. They play other sports too. My son played football. My younger guy plays football and basketball and baseball. He loves it all. But so I'm definitely in that, we need to adapt to the younger audience. It's not about what I like or you like. It's about what the consumer of tomorrow likes, right? But here's my pushback. My only thing I would say is we just got this. Like, it just started. Like, literally the opening day was days ago. And it's a huge change, and let's see it for what it is and look at it and evaluate it over a little bit of time. Already, I would say there's two prevailing thoughts that I have. One is, my first thought was your thought, which is, man, I like it. The games are faster. They play with some pace. There's no wasted time. We're getting in, we're getting out.
Well, look, and not to cut you off, but Jeff, who's got the graphic that I just put up, said, how can you time a pitcher? It's like forcing a surgeon to hurry in an operation. The pitch clock is terrible. That was the position I had until I actually watched it. There is plenty of time cooked into that pitch clock for any pitcher, other than Oil Can Boyd, for any pitcher in the world to gather themselves, assess the situation, communicate with the catcher, and make the pitch. There's plenty of time. We just let people go at their own pace for so long that everyone took a ridiculous amount of advantage of it. The entire league needed to be curbed and circled in. And so I thought that I was going to like it too. I normally fear and hate change. But just watching it implemented about 3 innings into spring training, I'm like, okay, yeah, this works. It's good, and it's probably going to be good for the game.
It works until the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then it doesn't work. Because here's what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is, like, the games need to be sped up because there's too much wasted time, and we're losing too many of our younger attention span challenged viewers, and they need to rule the day to some degree. So speeding it up was good. But there has to be some adjustment for the late innings, because the natural flow, it's like you can make a rules change, but if you kill the natural flow of a game or change it dramatically in a game that goes back to 1870, that's probably not great. And that's what I'm noticing in the late innings. It's like, when you tune into a baseball game, innings 1 through 3 always last shorter, go by quicker, if you will, than the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And that's because in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, those hitters are going to try to die hard, and they're going to try to foul everything off, and they're going to try to do anything they can. They may lay down a bunt. They're down a run. They may try to, do anything, lean into a pitch. They're desperate. They're down to their last whatever, 9 outs, 6 outs, 3 outs. And there's a natural pace of that's totally taken away now with this. You gotta get it and throw it, get it and throw it, get it and throw it. And it just almost feels like the players, like the teams that are losing, like don't even care at the end of games because they're not doing a lot of the behavior that we're used to them doing. But I also will say this: the one thing I do like about it is I think that in the old, I didn't realize this, but in the old way of doing things, the guys who throw 100 or 100 plus are putting so much into every pitch that this makes them be less throwers and more pitchers. You can't put everything into every pitch and go. I mean, Camilo Doval is literally like a human rain delay. He'll grab the rosin bag almost every other pitch, throw it down. He's chalking up. He's getting a good grip because he throws a killer slider, and he's got to have.
He throws warm-up pitches at 99, 100.
Right, but I'm just saying it hurts the thrower, which I'm fine with, but it also changes the dynamic of the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and it makes it feel like the team that's losing isn't really trying as hard because the 7th, 8th, and 9th can go by as fast as the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and we're so not used to that. And it would be almost like if football decided there was a problem with time and they allowed a running clock, in the last 5 minutes of the game or in the 4th quarter, and you're seeing these 4th quarters go by in an instant. And yeah, the games are over quicker, but it feels like less intense and less like there's less. It just feels different. And I think baseball has done that by changing this clock. They've created a faster game, but I don't know if it's better. And and these rules are also designed because we have 3 outcomes: strikeouts, walks, and homers. Well, guess what? Now we still have 3 outcomes: strikeouts, walks, and homers, except the games are over faster, and it's very expensive entertainment. So I don't know. I've never walked out of a baseball game going, man, I wish I would have loved that game if it was 30 minutes shorter. But I love the game, and I do understand that, it's a daily game and you can't go 4 hours every day. And that's probably not in your best interest. So
right.
I'm for speeding it up, Damon, but I would love for like a 7th, 8th, and 9th addendum where that was relaxed. And I definitely would love a postseason addendum of some kind so it doesn't feel so rushed. It's one thing to rush through some regular season games, but you know what? Baseball in the playoffs, I think, is really as good as sports gets in a lot of ways because there's so much drama.
And the tension builds and builds and builds. And
yeah. If you're getting it, throwing it, getting it, throwing it, getting it, throwing it, that tension, disappears. And I think that's bad. So overall, I'd say thumbs up. But, I talked to a couple Giants people this week who were like, there's some parts of the rules changes that they don't love.
There are parts of the rule changes that they don't love, but anyone on a baseball team who's not a pitcher is happy that these pitchers have been put on the clock because even if you have an awesome job, like I'm a major leaguer, the quicker you can get home from your job becomes part of your daily work goal at some point. And, there's no way that those guys want to be sitting at the ballpark for 6.5 hours when you could only be at the ballpark for 5 hours. I mean, it feels like
I just don't want them to make changes based on people that don't like the game. Like the people that don't like
the
baseball
commissioner of baseball doesn't like baseball. I mean, Rob Manfred does not like baseball.
I agree. He called the World Series trophy a fucking hunk of metal. To me, that's his legacy. That is literally the man's legacy. Yeah. Is he called this thing, and it rubbed the players so wrong. Now, obviously, he's the commissioner of the game. They're not going to want to sprint out and tell guys like you and I, media people, how much they hate the commissioner, right? They fear some pushback or being blackballed. But these guys have total disdain for that entire statement. That there's a lot of players, believe it or not, that really do, even though they make a lot of money, there's guys who play for the ring. And to just not acknowledge that, to me, that should be something you should try to, a narrative that you should be trying to forward. Instead, he's like, yeah, it's a hunk of metal. I mean,
right.
He's a labor lawyer thinking of dollars and cents, and he has no real soul or love of the game. He's not Peter Gammons. He's not Bob Costas. He's not, whatever. He doesn't have that kind of love for the game. He loves greenbacks.
By the way,
everything's about dollars for him.
Like you said earlier, you can't please everyone. Don't even try. But sometimes you got to take a cue from the audience, and Manuel might have it here. Enough baseball now, guys. All right, fair enough. Indeed. Fair enough. There's a big Warriors game coming up tonight. And what'd you say? You're going to be on with Cyrus and company after the game tonight?
Yeah, so 7 p.m. tip, I think. And so right around 9:30, I'll go live, and we'll chop it up. We'll talk. I've got a whole crew of guys. Bay Area Baller, Frank Red, Cy Satsis, who hosts Locked On Warriors. Sometimes Kylan Mills from Cron jumps in with us. Sometimes Dan Cochimilio, who's out in Philippines right now, will jump in with us. And we'll just chop it up and talk Warriors.
Tuning in from the Philippines? Look at him.
No, his wife's from the Philippines. They're just on a vacation. He lives in Arizona, but
nice.
He joins me a lot of times on some of these post-game live streams, Giants, Warriors, Niners. So yeah, we'll be on tonight. And, we talk all sports. We talk Niners. We talk, basically any big headlines of the day. We hit it in the post-game. So join us tonight after hopefully a Warrior victory.
They need it.
They get Kings in Sacramento, and then Blazers in the Moda Center.
Right, Friday, Sunday, I believe, are the games. So, yeah, it's just a huge one to say. I prepared this earlier on my show today. I don't even think I could use it before it actually crashed. But there you go. That's all you need right there. Final home games of the season. Chase tonight. Never read the graphics to the audience, Larry. But the Warriors are 32-8 at home, and the season ends with 2 games, at Sacramento on Friday and at Portland on Sunday. So there you go. That's how it all finishes when it's all said and done. And I tell you what, Jillian has literally been bending over backwards to get me up and on the air today. I can't join you. I'm actually doing Locked On with Cyrus tomorrow. I think we're going to be recording something. So I don't want to give it all away tonight since I'm going to be joining him tomorrow. But I will join you guys soon, and certainly throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, you got the standing invite to join us on any of the post games, and even if you haven't if I haven't invited you, just text me if during the game if you want to pop on. Even if you want to pop on for 5 minutes and just promote the channel and take off. You don't have to. There's no that's the beauty of this. There's no GM. There's no program director.
There's no Bob Agnew to come running into the studio. What the fuck are you doing?
You can't have Damon on for 2 minutes. Yeah, no, we can actually. Doc might pay. But yeah, so yeah, we'll be doing that later on tonight, and it's always fun. It's all I like the post game hang. I always like the post game too.
Yeah,
because to me, I always felt this. And I expressed this to you many times the years that we did the Niners thing. And that was just that the people who know the sport the best are the ones that should be doing the post-game show. Because there's a lot of media people in our world that wait for other people to make points. And then they just decide, they shop from their arguments and create their own. And then suddenly here's this guy's best argument and that guy's best argument. And I'm calling it all my own. But if you're on right after the game, you either have to know the game or you're going to sound bad.
Yeah.
I've always liked it. I've always enjoyed
that's
it.
You can't fake it on a pre or post game show. You have to know exactly how that engine works, and you got to be able to lift the hood up and tinker. And there's no pretending you know how the car runs with that fan base that sticks around to listen to those sorts of things. Speaking of fan bases, Larry, because I grew up a Cubs fan, I've identified my entire life with long-suffering fan bases, which is, one of the more remarkable aspects of the Golden State Warriors. One of the longest-suffering fan bases surrounded by incompetent ownership, coaches, and players, at least 2 or 3 at all times checking the incompetent box. Maybe they had a good roster, but the coach stunk and the owner sucked. Maybe they had a decent coach, but the owner sucked and the team stunk. They can never get it together. And when they got it together, and they've changed NBA history with how significant they've become. Caesar here, I put him up, light the beam. I am so happy for Kings fans. I really am. And even if you're a Warriors fan who doesn't like the Kings, you have to be happy for Kings fans. They have had, look at it this way. If you are a Kings fan, you really love that basketball team. Unless you just became a King fan this year and the first t-shirt you ever owned about them was Light the Beam, then you're a bandwagon hopper. But the truth is, like, anyone who is rolling with that team loves that team so much and has had no reward the last 16 years, for goodness sakes. I'm thrilled that they're in the playoffs. And beyond that, I'm thrilled that they're in the playoffs with an incredibly fun team that's great to watch. I mean, the watchability of the Sacramento Kings is off the charts. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Mike Brown. I'm happy for Carmichael Dave. I'm happy for, everyone I associate with up in Sacramento. D'Lo and KC, those guys do a great job in afternoons. I'm happy for Grant Napier wherever he is, because even though he got screwed over in a really weird situation by the Kings, that guy, if you don't like Grant Napier, you don't like Kings basketball. It's just that simple. And I'm happy for a city that has suffered, that has no other team to give its attention to. Like, it's the Sacramento Kings, and that's it up there. I'm thrilled for him, man. I really am. I love it when a dying of thirst fan base finally gets a drink of water.
No doubt. And have you been to Golden One?
I have. I've been there for NCAA tournament. The only thing I haven't seen at Golden One is a Kings game. I've been there for concerts. I've been there for NCAA tournament games. I've been there for there was one other thing that brought me up there. I can't remember what it was. I've been there for Fish shows. But no, I haven't actually been to a Kings game, but it's a great building. It's got a great footprint in the little, the outside that they built around it and all the bars and whatnot. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. They kind of reconstructed the K Street Mall. So I went to Sac State for college, right? So I'm a Warriors fan. I'm always been a Warriors fan, and I'm like Monte Ellis. I am a Warriors.
You're always going to be a Warriors.
I'm always going to be a Warriors.
One of my favorite quotes in the history of me being here.
Yeah, but I showed up there as, one of the main reasons I went to Sac State was because the Kings went there, because they had just gone there. And I was like, well, wait a second, I don't want to go to some sleepy flat. As a Bay Area kid, when you said Sacramento to me, I pictured 100 degrees, incredibly flat, and, 7 guys in the back of a pickup, chewing Copenhagen. You know what I mean? And when I got up there, I realized, first of all, it's called the City of Trees. There's more trees in Sacramento than almost any city in the world. I mean, it's just a crazy number of trees. But it's just
Are we talking weed or like actual trees?
No, actually trees.
Okay.
Real trees. They may have weed too. But it was such a great spot to go to college. It was such a cool spot to start my media career and to start, I was an intern for Grant Napier. I was an intern for a sports talk show host named Bud Ferrillo, who had a morning show. I was his producer, and I'll never forget. Damon, I got to tell you this story. It's day one, sports radio day one, right? I'm the producer of the Bud Ferrillo show. It's an NFL Monday. He's got, since he's like a big name guy, he was big in LA, right? He's older at this point. He retired in Sacramento. He's working for KSAC. The station's big hitters at that time were Bud Ferrillo and Ted Green. Do you remember Ted Green? Ted Green, very tan man.
I remember the name.
So anyway, so it was such a lesson. So he goes, our first guest is Mike Francesa. Here's his number. Call him up. So I go, okay. So I get the number and I call the number and I'm like, how you doing? Is this Mike? Yeah, this is Mike Francesa. I'm like, Mike, Larry Krueger here with KSAC. I'm calling for the Bud Ferrillo show. Bud says you're going to be on with us in a couple minutes. He's like, fucking A, fuck this, fuck that, fuck it. He's dropping all these fucking, fuck this, fuck it. He's dropping a million F-bombs. My eyes are like, oh my God, he's not ready to come on. He's not. I'm starting to like motion to Bud, like, hey, we may have a problem here. The guy's like, totally upset. He's like, I don't have fucking time for this fucking shit, all this fucking. He dropped like a 20 F-bombs. And I'm like, so I say, I put it on the talk back. I go, hey, I got him on the line here, but he seems a little agitated. He's dropping a lot of F-bombs. He's like, just pot him up. And then, so we're coming out of a commercial. And I'm like, Mike, well, we're going to be on with Bud in a second. He's like, I don't got fucking time. I hang up the phone. I put it on hold. I'm like looking at the producer. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be bad. He comes out of the commercial. Hey, the Bud Ferrillo Show. He goes, Mike Francesa joins us on the line. And all of a sudden he goes, Steema, hey, Steema, how you doing, Steema? You're doing great. And he didn't swear one time.
Just went right into it, right into the my best friend is now on the phone with me.
Yeah, he's dropping F-bombs. I only have this much time. I don't got fucking time for this. As soon as he's on the air, Steema, hey, buddy boy, hey.
That's great. By the way, keeping the faith.
I was so like, wow. And then, of course, as you know, the Mike and the Mad Dog 30 for 30, in the last year or two, to sit there and think the very first thing I ever did in sports media was put like one of the premier, if not the premier guy who does what we do,
right?
Latch him on a call on a show was the very first move I made. In some ways, the whole thing was appropriate, but I fell in love with Sacramento. I fell in love with this medium and sports radio. And Damon, I can remember that Sacramento Kings team like it was yesterday. Wayman Tisdale, Tank Thompson, LaSalle Thompson, Kenny Smith was on that team.
So it's funny. You always
Harold
remember
Presley,
whenever you
Jim
produce,
Peterson,
whenever you produce for someone, you remember the very first person that you ever got who was a professional athlete, the first professional athlete you ever called. Hi, I'm Damon Bruce from ESPN Radio, looking to book. Wayman Tisdale is the first professional athlete I ever booked. Wayman Tisdale.
Man.
So there you go.
Great guy. He's no longer with us, of course, but Wayman Tisdale played the piano. He had a great low post game. But yeah, I was there for those early days of the Sacramento Kings, and I wasn't there for the first Arco. They had opened the first year I was in college was the first year of the opening of the second Arco Arena, the one that we all kind of think of as Arco Arena. But man, the fans were into it, and then I worked there I was going to a game my freshman year, and I see a guy from my dorm, my Sac State dorm, and he's walking around like as a waiter, like in courtside. And so I'm like, bro, how'd you get that job? And he's like, told me how to get it. And basically I signed up the next day, and I worked at the Kings games while I was in college as like a waiter in the courtside seats for tips and for, you got whatever you made an hour. It was really low.
Right.
But what it really did, you only had to work in quarters 1, 2, and 3. Then you would hand over your apron and your thing, and they would just let you go sit in the stands. And you could sit anywhere because you knew the guards. So I literally, and the NBA, the fourth quarter matters like a million times more than all the other quarters combined. I sat basically courtside for Kings like all through college.
That's
in
awesome.
The fourth quarter, watching all these games. Hakeem Olajuwon rolled in, Bird. I mean, it was. By
the way, speaking of rolling in, Larry, we got a celebrity. Ike
in the house.
I mean, I was at Ike's with my wife not even 2 hours ago. We went and bought this new computer, which, by the way, everything's running much smoother. It's amazing what a actual computer that is designed to do these sorts of things does, as opposed to mine, which crashed today. But I just got myself a sandwich at Ike's, and Ike's, it's great to see you. I know Larry is desperate for a sandwich. Here's the thing. I used to tell Ike, as long as Larry was on against me, no fucking sandwiches for Larry.
Look at you.
Yo, dude, I got to protect my own.
You know what I love that Ike did is Ike got a deal done at the SAP Center. So like when you go down to the Shark Tank, I don't think you get you can't just go in there and ask for any sandwich. I think
they have a limited supply because they don't have the biggest, they don't have a walk-in freezer.
Right. It's like 5 or 7 sandwiches or whatever. But I love a good Ike sandwich. And when I was at the Sharks game, I just went over and got myself an Ike's.
Well, look at it this way. Somebody, Jillian Bruce, the skipper from Stonestown. That's there she is. She ate the skipper today. It was like fried Gouda cheese ball bites or something. It was good. It was very, very good. Here we go. Caesar once again says Larry needs a sandwich. I tell you what.
Thank you, Caesar. Caesar's always watching out for me.
Ike, if you're watching, you now have my full permission to allow Larry a sandwich.
Okay, but this is the sandwich I'm thinking of, Ike, and it's probably already in the house because Damon said it is. But I love turkey, like turkey breast on a soft roll with some I don't like mayo mustard on my turkey. I like turkey with turkey gravy with just a few cranberries in there maybe a tad bit of stuffing, almost like a day after Thanksgiving turkey sandwich where you throw a little stuffing on the top, maybe a couple cranberries.
My
Ooh.
my father, who passed away a few years ago, my dad and I, look, we had a great relationship. Sometimes it was complicated, but it was never more complicated than about 8:30, 8:45 on Thanksgiving night when you're thinking about circling that fridge and making the first turkey sandwich. My father and I used to go to war over the in the bird stuffing because we were so about the stuffing that if it was, we had to do a separate casserole dish of stuffing, which was inferior to
Drier.
the actual in the bird stuffing. My
That's
dad
right.
and I used to go to war over in the bird stuffing. So
Juicier. It's juicier. It's like been cooking in the turkey juices and the whole deal. I met your dad.
There you go. That's
Remember
all you
when
need to
I
see
met
right
your
there.
dad? I met your dad and your mom. I met your mom a couple times, but I met your dad at the party you had in it was a bar or a restaurant. Do you remember that? You had a private. It wasn't a private party, but you had a party and you had a bunch of people. And
Did you come to my 40th? Was that
maybe
it?
was it in a bar? Maybe.
Yeah.
Your
It was a
mom,
bar.
your mom and your dad were both flew in for it.
Yeah.
And
No, that was my 40th birthday. It's the only time I ever
night.
tried
Where
to
was that?
blow
It was
out.
in the city somewhere.
Yeah, it was at a
Was
bar.
it down by? Was like down by like North Beach, maybe?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah. It was at a bar called Cobalt, which was not like like my favorite bar. I frequented it, but we knew someone who really, really liked my show and basically said, Damon, I would love to host your party. We got a good venue for you. Like, I'll give it to you. All you need to do is, pay for the liquor. We'll forget about renting the space. We'll be happy to shut it down if you can put enough people in there to just, we'll do business and we'll do business for you and your friends. It was a wonderful, generous thing that I got hooked up with. And that was a great night. It really, really was. That was a very special night. A lot of good memories that night. My buddy Ike was there, and my sister was in town, and the two of them ended up walking off together with a group of friends, and they went to some like sex shop in North Beach, and my sister comes back with like handcuffs for me. She's like, happy birthday. Hopefully your night goes well. I'm like, oh, thanks for the fuzzy pink handcuffs.
You know what we got to do, which would be a total fun thing to do, is we should do a Krug Bruce bar crawl where we get, because I got a buddy who owns like 7 different bars in San Francisco. What we do is we get like one of those cable cars.
Who's your friend with 7 different bars?
What
are these bars? Who owns 7 bars?
Yeah, this guy owns 7 bars in the
7
city.
bars?
He owns one of them. It's called Cease and Desist. Have you been to Cease and Desist in the Mission?
I haven't.
He owns
but
one
here's
in
the
Pack
thing. Like,
Heights. He owns another in Laurel Heights.
What's it called?
It's called Cease and Desist.
What's the other one called?
That's the only one I remember.
Okay.
But he's got 7 of them. He's got 7 different
deal.
bars. What do you think of that little bar crawl?
I'm all about a bar crawl.
And we could do live streams. Can you imagine? We got the cameras. I'll get a cameraman out there filming. As we go from bar to bar, and like a cable car all through the city. Maybe a summertime deal.
Do you remember when Lamont and Tonelli used to do their drunk driver show? Right. And they would sit there and like every half hour, 15 minutes, they'd take a shot. And by the end of their show, you had who was the program director of the Ticket 1050 at the time, or 1077 The Bone, like in that last hour, everyone was so afraid of the F-bombs and the swearing. Like, I think they took the 7-second delay to a 35-second delay. And I remember how drunk those guys used to come out of that studio. And I'm like, so you just worked today? And they're like, yeah, we sure did.
It's funny. When they did that little radio thing, they always got like a portable breathalyzer, right? So when I was going to Sac State, right where the Kings Arena is now, was a brewing company. It was a really good little restaurant. It was called Little City. I think it was called Little City or River City. River City Brewing Company, right? It was right in the K Street Mall. And in the bathroom of the River City, in the men's room of the River City Brewing Company restaurant bar, there was a breathalyzer. And it was like, so I had buddies back in college, who weren't driving, of course, and who would just, dude, I just got out. I just came from the bathroom. I'm, 2.8. I'm 0.28. Dude, that's nothing, dude. Slam one more shot. I'm going to go back. I bet you it's 0.33.
Oh, that's great.
Just ridiculous.
By the way, we have confirmation. Thank you very much, Ike. Thank you very, very much. Look, man, we've got. By the way,
Ike's blowing up. By the way, everywhere. I think I just went somewhere. I think I saw an Ike's the other day. Man, he might have one in Emeryville as well.
Oh, he's everywhere. He's absolutely everywhere these days. My buddy Ethan, who is the best bartender in San Francisco, and my friend Greg, GQ, who is, been referenced on my show for the better part of 20 years at one point or another, especially when I'm worried about Indiana because he also went to IU. They, I believe, closed on a bar today. So I got friends who are about to own a bar, Larry. We're going to have the official bar of the Damon Bruce Plus, and possibly even if they can afford, a talent like Larry Krueger, maybe even the Krug show as well. But I'm so happy for you, Ethan.
Party. We do a watch party, bro.
Gianna is in. I mean, we got all of the Bay Area luminaries joining us here today.
I watched Gianna. She's on Pix, right?
She is, and I'm going to be
doing her thing on Pix.
I'm going to be with her Friday morning from the ballpark.
She's doing a great job.
Yeah, I'm going to be.
I saw your segment with her on your channel.
Let me tell you, man.
She's first class.
In your life, get a friend like Gianna Franco.
Really?
Oh my God, she is one of the nicest, best people in the world I have ever met. My wife and her are friends independent of me even being involved in the conversation. She's one of the best people I knew. And again, on the day my world came crashing down because I got laid off, it was also Gianna's birthday. It was Gianna's birthday when I got my silver bullet. And she called to say, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I don't even want to talk about that. Happy birthday. I love you. And who is one of the first people saying, hey, come on over to KPIA? I mean, find someone who loves you back. Gianna officially loves me back, and I love her. Larry, you love me back, man. You went ahead and you were right there for me when the shit hit the fan, and
I just needed to call you and I didn't know what your headspace would be. I know that you have a good show. I know that you're a talented broadcaster. But you know what? When you get knocked down in this world, sometimes it's hard to have perspective on yourself. And so I just called you to just give you a little perspective. Be like, dude, look, if you're doubting yourself, don't. And if you're thinking about, woe is me, don't. And you know what? Who had a huge impact on me when I got dumped was my comedian friend who has now become he's a media mogul, the great Al Madrigal.
Oh, Al Madrigal is one of my favorite interviews. I think that guy's talented as hell. We
went to high school together. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I knew you knew him, but I didn't know that you knew him.
Sophomore when I was a senior, he lived out by me in the Sunset. We'd go to these parties in Marin, and all of a sudden we'd be like standing there and be like, hey, you got a car, right? I'm like, yeah. Could you give me a ride home? I'm like, sure, bro. Get in the back. I got bench seating. I don't care. With seat belts, sheets. I didn't. Back then it was like, hey, and as many as you could pile into the old Chevy Nova. So I used to drive Al home from parties all the time. We became friends. But he called me and he's like, bro, you're way, way too talented to be down because of a radio situation. And he's like, dude, don't fucking sit around perfecting the story of how you got fired or how you got let go, and get up on your own 2 feet, use your head, invest a couple years into yourself, and then recalibrate in a couple years, see where you're at. And he goes, if I'm correct, you're going to be better off in 2 years than you are today. And it was such a kick in the butt. And it was such a it's like sometimes you need someone to shake you.
Yeah.
Just be like, dude, because I was going to sit there and start perfecting this. Well, this happened and that happened. And nobody gives a shit at the end of the day.
Right.
Just get up, move on, go do something better. And, the best defense is live well. You know what I mean? Or the best answer, the best reply to anybody who knocks you is live well. And that's what I've been doing. This has been an incredibly fun adventure on YouTube. This is where the audience is migrating to, whether you are here or I'm here or not. The audience is migrating away from old media and into this. And this is very rewarding if you can grab hold of it, own it, and build it. And that's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing. And everybody should join us, and onward and upward, bro.
Yeah, look, man, it's I have to retrain my own brain because I was such a radio advocate and supporter and diplomat for the longest time, and I carried more water for that medium to the point where, like, you don't want to admit that you're wrong about anything. You know.
I mean, you were a radio guy and a great radio guy, but it's look what's happened to radio.
Look, I was talking to somebody
look where
today.
It's going. It's never been more challenged. It's never been more. There's a lot of competition out there.
Here's how it was pitched to me today.
That's the way it goes.
That ultimately, for guys like you and me, it's done. Look, it created, and I'll always be thankful for, KNBR and 95.7 The Game to give me the opportunity to introduce myself to Bay Area sports fans over 20 years. And that's how, I built a brand. But at some point in time, that medium becomes restrictive of your career and your success more than it does help you once you've launched your own brand. It's obnoxious to call yourself a brand, but once you have a recognizable name.
This is the Damon Bruce channel. And
who needs a station when you got a channel, right?
I mean, you got your own channel, and your channel is global, and your channel is growing, and will continue to grow.
Especially as we make our audience less of a Venn diagram and more of a perfect circle, as we do this home and home broadcasting situation that we are going to be doing on a near daily basis, almost 7 days a week, because sports don't sleep and neither do we. And again, when in doubt, when you got to think of something, you go to the ganja jar, and there's a whole new show in there. There's a whole show in the ganja jar. Just, whenever you need it, it's right there.
As your kids get older, you guys put that on the higher shelf.
You're right about that. You're right. Yeah, I don't need them getting into my stuff there. By the way, the best thing is Jillian's not into it. Jillian doesn't like coffee, bacon, or weed, so she doesn't drink my coffee. Whenever we go to breakfast and she gets bacon, that means I get extra bacon, and then she never dips into the weed jar.
I've never had in my entire life a full cup of coffee.
Really? So I've never had in my entire life even a puff off of a cigarette.
Wow. Never once.
Never? Not even
you didn't have that girlfriend in high school who just was smoking like a chimney? No?
Nope. Never even a puff off a cigarette. I've smoked everything else. Not cigarettes.
I've never had a cup of coffee. I never wanted it. Now I like, I'll have a Coke every now and then, but I try to not drink that as much anymore.
Well, I've always said,
you know what actually for me, it was great on air was water. It's like, if I had to do one of these shifts, especially if I was doing pre and post, or I'm going to have a long shift, or
that's what I got in here right now.
Just water. If I can drink 6-7 glasses of water, when the show's over, I feel great. When I was drinking sodas during the show, I used to drink sodas when I do this show with Gary. I'd have these peak ups and downs, and I just would feel terrible all the time. So I just kind of cut it out. So yeah, no, I'm not some people are just into their coffee. My wife's super into her coffee. She loves it.
So a guy who I think met me for the first time on your show last night, Moondust, who was up my ass about things he didn't like, and then he even reached out and hit me on my page and said, I know I was teasing you about your sandwich, but it's a pretty good sandwich after all. So Moondust and I are slowly becoming friends after all, and he just asked, is Jillian human? All you got to do is go back to the beginning of this when she came down here and solved an audio issue to find out not only is she human, she's one of them hot ones. And
what's up with the bacon, though? Man, that's almost un-American right there.
But here's the thing.
Bacon? I mean, who doesn't like bacon? I mean, seriously.
My wife.
You could put bacon in almost anything. Like,
it works.
You could take bacon and wrap it in something I don't like, and I'd be like, hey, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. It's incredible. But instead of ridiculing her, I've just made it work out to my advantage.
Right.
That's it. I've just made it work out to my advantage. Look, we got We got Warriors and Kings, and I know you got to do some dinner probably, spend a little time with your family since you've been who were you talking with before you joined me? I know that you just were doing a 49er podcast.
Yeah, I was doing a live stream with the great Raj.
Raj, he's fantastic, by the way.
Do you know Raj? Raj runs
I don't
the
know.
RSF
I don't know him,
49ers.
but I know him through your channel, and he's great.
Oh, he's awesome. And you think, you think guys like Grant Cohn or, Dave Lombardi or some of these guys have a little momentum going. Raj has like 250,000 IG followers, whatever you call them, followers, subscribers. So I mean, he's building up his YouTube, but his IG. I mean, John Lynch follows him, George Kittle follows him. I mean, if the Niners do anything, it's reflected on Raj's RSF 49ers IG account. So
nice.
Go follow Raj on IG, and he's awesome. And I talk to him every Monday at 1:00. This week he was at WrestleMania, so he's like, "Krug, can we do it Tuesday?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it Tuesday." So we had him on tonight or today, right before this at 2:00. And normally tonight I would be on with the great Vish Kumaran, who's also phenomenal. But Vish was a little under the weather, so we pushed it back to tomorrow.
All right, man.
So tonight I'm just gonna hang out, watch the basketball game, have a little dinner with the fam. And then right around 9:30, I'll go live on the Krug Show with Cyrus Satsis, Frank Red, Bay Area Baller, and hopefully a lot of you. So,
well, here's the thing. I can't join you tonight, but what are we going to do tomorrow? What are you and I going to do tomorrow? Because I'm on at 11 on Damon Bruce Plus, and then and then you and I will tag in again for Home and Home, but we'll do it over on your page. What are we thinking?
Tomorrow I'm on with tomorrow's Wednesday. I do a 2:00 live stream with Wayne Breezy. Yep. So what do you think about like a little bit on the earlier side tomorrow? Because I've got 6:45 with Vish, and I'd like to give it a good 90 minutes with you. So how about 5:15, something like that? 5:00, 5:15. What do you think?
Have your people call my people.
All right, we'll talk it over.
And we'll
check us out tomorrow on the Krug Show, and we'll be chopping it up, man.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. The one of the things that I think we need, because you and I spend more time at home than we're normally used to, is I need good show recommendations. The single best show in the world that is happening right now that nobody is talking about, Larry, right here. Are you watching Perry Mason on HBO?
No.
And you come from a family of judges and lawyers.
Yeah, my dad was a lawyer. My brother's a judge in SAC.
The best show on television, and it moves slowly because it's set in an era where time and people move slower.
So it's a remake, kind of. It's a remake of Perry Mason.
It is a modern remake of Perry Mason, and it is fantastic. We'll be breaking it down a little bit more on the Plus tomorrow. Hopefully you can bring a good show recommendation for me tomorrow, Larry. And as always, brother, it is so exciting to be embarking on this. And one of the things that makes it incredibly exciting is I know I'm not doing it on my own. And the two of us together can literally break this town when it comes to owning the sports conversation. And we know that, and the audience knows that. And I think that there are a couple stations about to shit their pants because they know that too.
Well, right now it's a low sports day, but, tomorrow, the next day, whatever day big stuff happens, the numbers on our channels are going to skyrocket because there's a lot of people that care what Damon Bruce has to say about the biggest sports stories in town. And I'd like to think that I'm in that same group, and we'll knock it out of the park, brother.
I've always cared about what you think of the biggest sports stories. Always. There's never been a moment since you dropped the Gino Carmazzi on me in a sports byline studio about 25 years ago. I've been a fan. So thank you for joining me here, brother.
Absolutely, man.
We'll see you tomorrow. I appreciate your time as always, and absolutely, we'll see you tomorrow. We will push Larry off and say thank you so much to Larry for joining us, and I got to get upstairs. I got to go ahead and make sure that the wife is, she's definitely not eating any bacon tonight, but I want to make sure that she is going to instill, stay with me, basically. We put her through the ringer in the last few weeks, and there is nobody. Dude, my wife is a killer. I mean, there's just no other way to say it. She's a killer. She's the most get shit done girl I've ever met in my life. I'm lucky to be with her. There's no doubt. I'm lucky to be with Larry. I am lucky to have all of you here with me. It's been a weird few weeks. I keep on saying that because it's true. It's been a weird few weeks. I thought for a minute there that everything I loved got taken away from me in terms of what I do for a living. I'm realizing now that not only did that not happen, but I've actually got more to give away and grab than ever before right here in the new media. So we'll wrap up with this. Draymond Green was right. The new media seems to be the place to be. After all, there's no denying it. And because I got cut off earlier today and didn't get to end my show the way I normally like to do it, let me say thank you very much to Larry for coming on. Thanks to him for being an incredible friend and a great broadcaster. And we're going to have a lot more for you. We're going to be back on the air tomorrow at 11 a.m. I hope you plan on joining me. I hope Larry subscribers who haven't subscribed here, subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus, the Plus. It's ready to go, baby. The Plus. Some people say, Damon, you shouldn't spell it Pluce, but then spell it plus Plus. You're confusing people. I know, but that's kind of how I do it. So there we go. Thank you very, very much for joining us here today. I like that. It's great to have you here. I'm lucky to have you here. I couldn't do this if you weren't going to follow me here. So I just want to leave you with this. Sports don't build character. They reveal it. Enjoy the Warriors game, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at 11. Take care.